Unit 9 Leadership. 9.0 Introduction. The present unit discusses the concept of leader and leadership skills in context of organizational environment. The unit will further discuss the different leadership styles based on the proposed leadership theories. It explains the challenges that are faced by the leaders of the organization. At the end, the Indian perspective on leadership will be explained. 9.2 Concept of leader and leadership. Let us first try to understand the concept and relevance of leaders in organization, followed by the concept and relevance of leadership. 9.2.1 Concept and relevance of leaders. Efficiency of any organization depends on how a leader utilizes the available resources like raw materials, machines, buildings, policies, capital, etc. Leadership skills are very important for making organizations successful. A successful leader will always try to balance both organizational growth and subordinates' growth. Good guidance can help the follower to select right path to accomplish the goal. Leaders can help to develop good values among their subordinates which can help in their personal growth apart from organizational progress. Following are the characteristics of successful leaders in the organization through which they can influence others. 1. Having clear future vision. 2. Communicating and expression skills. 3. Good decision-making skills. 4. High level of passion and dedication. 5. Holding good morale and values. Leaders arise in many situations. Even informal social groups have leaders. When groups endure and become formal, the persons are elected leaders. Normally, the persons elected to offices are the ones who are the natural leaders of the groups. Their views get attention from the members even without formal election, but with elections, those natural leaders are consciously acknowledged. When a person, either such informal leader or someone else, is appointed in a superior capacity, the natural leadership relations change. Such change occurs in two respects. First, when a person is appointed in superior capacity, he gets authority from the organization. Secondly, this authority enables him to increase or decrease the satisfaction to his subordinates. However, an appointed, formal, leader cannot solely rely upon the use of authority for getting desired results from his subordinates because, as discussed earlier, subordinates seldom put maximum effort under the pressure of authority. Thus, a chief executive having more authority, but lacking leadership qualities, may be less effective as compared to a foreman with less authority but high degree of leadership qualities. Regardless of these differences between formal and informal leaders, however, a leader is able to direct the actions of his followers because they believe he can provide rewards, or prevent penalties, that satisfy their needs. The leader affects direction of activities in the organization. Motivation is necessary for work performance. A good leader through his leadership motivates his employees for high performance. A good leader may create confidence in his followers by directing them, giving them advice and getting through them good results in the organization. This helps them in enhancing their efficiency. Sometimes, individuals fail to recognize their qualities and capabilities to work in the absence of good direction. Morale is expressed as attitudes of employees towards organization, management and voluntary cooperation to offer their ability to the organization. High morale leads to high productivity and organizational stability. By providing good leadership in the organization, employees' morale can be raised, ensuring high productivity and stability in the organization. Thus, good leadership is essential in all aspects of managerial functions, whether it be motivation, communication or direction. 9.2.2 Concept and relevance of leadership. Leadership is an important factor for making organizations successful. Throughout the history, it has been recognized that the difference between success and failure, whether in a war, a political movement, a business, or a team game, can be attributed largely to leadership. Since the organization is basically a deliberate creation of human beings for certain specified objectives, the activities of its members need to be directed in a certain way. Any departure from this way will lead to inefficiency in the organization. Leadership involves the process of influencing an individual or a group to accomplish a particular goal. The term influencing means the process of transforming, empowering, motivating and inspiring the subordinate or followers to accomplish goals. Leadership may be considered as the process, act, of influencing the activities of an organized group in its efforts toward goal setting and goal achievement. Hence, from above can understand that leadership is a process of influencing the behaviors of others to work willingly and enthusiastically for achieving predetermined goals. Three important components of this definition. An interpersonal process between one person or a group. Can't have leaders without followers. Criterion for effective leadership goal achievement. However, it does not empathize the enthusiasm with which the receiver of the communication will act. Therefore, to have a detailed understanding of the concept of leadership, this chapter includes different types of theories developed and researches done in various fields, challenges of leadership and Indian perspective of leadership. 9.3 Theories of leadership. Leaders across the world use different kinds of leadership styles and skills which impacts organizational progress. Some of the early conventional and recent contemporary theories of leadership are explained below. Trey approach to leadership. A lot of scientific research has been done to explore and understand the concept of leadership. If we examine the past history, we can find many leaders who have been appreciated for their effective leadership qualities, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Margaret Thatcher, etc. The first leadership theory was coined in the early 20th century by Thomas Carlyle, called as Great Man Theory, which assumes leaders are born and not made. This theory is also called a Trey-based perspective of leadership, explaining that certain dispositional characteristics of a leader, are differentiated from non-leaders. This theory focuses on individual differences in personality which are considered to determine effective leadership skills. Big Five personality framework was developed in the early 1960s to identify major personality traits required to become an effective leader. For example, leaders are meant to have highly extrovert, so that they express their thoughts well and be assertive. Apart from these traits, there are a set of skills and traits, mentioned below, that were identified by Stockdale in 1974. Recent research on Trey theory of leadership has reflected emotional intelligence as one of the important traits which can help a leader have outstanding training, a highly analytical mind, and a compelling vision which can enable an empathetic leader to read the reactions of others. Even though there have been many researches done in order to identify different traits required to possess by an effective leader, there are no set of traits identified that are consistent over the time. Some leaders might have possessed certain traits, but the absence of them did not necessarily mean that the person was not a leader. 9.3.1 Behavioral theories of leadership. The foremost study in the field of leadership was done by Kurt Lewin and his associates in 1939. Behavioral theory assumes that leaders are not born, rather there are specific behavioral patterns of leaders that can be acquired through learning and experience. Different studies have been done to understand how behavioral aspects affect leadership of an individual. Some of them are explained as follows. Ohio State studies. A study by E. A. Fleischman, E. F. Harris and H. E. Burt in 1945 identified two-factor conceptualizations in leadership behaviors, i.e., initiating structure, which refers to leadership qualities such as directive, task-oriented, organized, etc., whereas consideration refers to leadership qualities such as empathetic, understanding colleagues than focusing on only deadlines, supportive, person-oriented leadership. University of Michigan Studies. Research by Rensis Likert and his associates in 1946 also identified two-factor components related to leadership behavior and organization behavior. The first one is an employee-oriented leader who is concerned about their employees and accepts individual differences in the organization, and the second one is a production-oriented leader who focuses on tasks assigned to the employees, rather than on employees. Managerial grid. 1. Managerial grid explains how the leadership style can affect organizational progress. The managerial grid developed by Robert Blake and Jane Mouton postulated that there were 5 leadership types which show whether the leaders focus on tasks or concern for production/results, or the focus is on the relationship with the subordinate or concern for people. Following are the types of leadership styles. 2. Impoverished management. The leader pays less attention to both outcome and concern about the people. The apathetic nature of the leader results in behavior that is withdrawn from subordinates and indifferent to success. 3. Country club management. Leaders who practice such type of leadership have low concern for results and high concern for employees, resulting in pleasing behavior from the leader. They create very welcoming and friendly behavior for employees. 4. Authority compliance management. Leaders who practice such leadership have high concern for results and low concern for people. This creates a strong boundary and distinction between the leader and other people, resulting in lack of compassion. 5. Middle-of-the-road management. Leaders practicing such style maintain balance with both concerns for results and with the people working with them. This type of leadership leads to greater success. 6. Team management. Leaders practicing such leadership style place a great on production and on people. This optimal balance of developing human relationships and effective results attainment provides for the most satisfying work environment. X and Y managers theory. Douglas McGregor gave X and Y managers theory, which explicitly explains about characteristics of X and Y managers. McGregor believed that management can use either of the needs to motivate his employees, as grouped under Theory X and Theory Y. Theory X advanced the view that human beings have an inherent dislike for work and can only be made to get results at work by the application of coercive methods and by direction. Theory X emphasizes authoritarian style of leadership where results are the focus of leadership and it is more work-centered than people-centered. Theory Y approach to management, on the other hand, is more people-centered where the individual is valued and appreciated. Theory Y submits that when workers are given the right environment, they can reach their highest potential and can be of great value to their organizations. McGregor postulated that leaders who hold Theory X assumptions believe that people are lazy, abhor responsibility and not motivated and therefore need to be coerced before they will work and show commitment. Such leadership assumptions lead to close supervision and control of workers and siphon the ingenuity of workers and results in lack of motivation in workers. Leaders who practice Theory Y assumptions, on the other hand, involve workers engage in joint problem solving, understand the needs of team members and integrate personal needs of achievement with organizational objectives. Although with such an approach the leader facilitates and initiates the control process, it is done with the involvement of the workers in mind and can be encouraging and motivating for them. 9.3.2 Contingency/situational theories of leadership. Contingency or situational theories explain that no one leadership style is best for managers in the organization. Every situation is different from one another and hence the leadership style will depend upon the people, the task, the organization, and other environmental variables. According to the contingency theories of leadership, successful leaders must be able to identify clues in an environment and adapt their leader behavior to meet the needs of their followers and of the particular situation. Even with good diagnostic skills, leaders may not be effective unless they can adapt their leadership style to meet the demands of their environment. These theories emerged as a result of the criticism of the trait and behavioral approaches to leadership, which do not recognize the determining role of situations or contexts in leadership. Fiedler's contingency theory. The contingency theory of leadership was developed by Fred Fiedler in 1958 during his research of leader effectiveness in group situations. Fiedler believed that one's effectiveness to lead depended on one's control of the situation and the style of leadership. Unlike the situational theory of leadership, leader effectiveness is contingent on the leader's style matching the situation, not adapting to it. This theory assumes that styles are fixed, and that they cannot be adapted or modified. A leader is most effective when his or her attributes and style of leadership is matched with the situation and environment around them. The contingency theory is not concerned with having the leader adapt to a situation, rather the goal is to match the leader's style with a compatible situation. To make best use of this theory, it is important to find what style a leader has. This is done through the Least Preferred Co-worker Scale, LPC. The LPC is a list of questions designed to find out what kind of employee a leader would most like to work with, and in turn shows the leader's style. Fiedler's contingency model attempts to match the leader's style using LPC to the situation in which they would thrive. High LPC score, leader with good personal skills and relies on relationships with others to accomplish tasks, people-oriented leadership style. Low LPC score, leader that accomplishes goals through focus on the task and positional power, task-oriented leadership style. It has been observed that several situational factors influence the effectiveness of the leadership styles. Fiedler identified three contingency dimensions that define the key situational factors. A. Leader-member relations. It refers to personal relationship between subordinate and their leader. Leader-member relations refer to degree of trust, respect and confidence that exists between the leader and the worker. The quality of leader-member relations is the most important influence on manager's power and effectiveness. If the manager gets along well with rest of the group, if the group members respect the manager for reasons of personality, character or ability, then the manager might have to rely on formal authority. On the other hand, if the manager who is disliked may be less able to lead informally and could have to rely on directives to accomplish task. B. Task structure. Task structure is the second most important situational variable in the leadership situation. It indicates situational favorableness, indicating the degree to which job assignment are well structured. A structured task is simple, routine, easily understood and unambiguous. Group members therefore have a very clear idea about what they are expected to do. Task structure refers to the degree to which tasks are clearly explained to the workers. Such tasks are presumed to be more favorable. When the tasks are unstructured, group members' roles are ambiguous. C. Leader's position power. It refers to power inherent in leadership role. Degree of influence leader has over the subordinates. Leader's position power is the final situational variable identified by Fiedler. Some positions like president of the company carry a great deal of power and authority. The chairperson of the company, on the other hand, has less power and authority over workers. Thus, high position power simplifies the leader's task of influencing others, while low position power makes leader's task more difficult. If first dimension, leader-member relations, is high, leaders are accepted by the followers and situation is favorable. If second dimension, task structure, is high, task is very structured and everything is spelled out properly, so situation is favorable. If third dimension, leader's position power, is high, situation is favorable for a leader. Thus, situations are favorable to the leader if all the three dimensions are high. If all the three dimensions are low, situation will be unfavorable. According to Fiedler, a leadership is said to have more control and favorable for organizational situations when the leader-member relations are good, task assignments are highly structured along with a stronger power position. Similarly, the situations in an organization would be unfavorable when the respect that members have for leaders is poor, with unstructured task assignments and weak position power. After knowing leadership style and defining the situation, one needs to choose the leader who fits the situation. There are two ways to improve effective leadership: 1. By changing the leader to fit the situation, or 2. By changing the situation to fit the leader. Given that personality or style of the leader, task orientation and relationship orientation, is reasonably stable, the Fiedler's contingency model suggests that the situation should be adapted to such an extent that it suits the leader. Fiedler suggested that when the situation is highly favorable, good leader-member relationship, high task structure and strong position power, or highly unfavorable, poor leader-member relationship, low task structure and weak position power, task-oriented leadership style is more effective. On the other hand, oriented leadership style is more effective when the situation is moderately favorable. Path-goal theory of leadership. House developed the motivation-rich path-goal theory, which assumes that leaders will choose and change the path of attaining their goal based on the motivational level of their subordinates. 4 types of leadership behavior were identified, namely 1. Directive leader. Leader tries to give direction and guidance required for attaining organization goals. 2. Supportive leader. Leader focuses on interpersonal relationships with followers rather than accomplishing organizational goals. 3. Participative leader. Leader tries to consult his subordinates to understand their viewpoint before making any decisions. 4. Achievement-oriented leader. Leader expects his followers to perform at their highest level by overcoming any type of challenges. Leader participation model. Victor Vroom and Philip Yeton in 1973 developed this model, which assumes that there are a set of rules that needs to be followed before making any kinds of decision making. This model is also called as decision participation model and normative model. 3 set of qualities in the leader determines the capacity of the decision maker, which are I. Quality of the decision, 2. Degree of acceptance of the decision by subordinates, and 3. Time required in making the decision. In general, a consultative or collaborative style is most appropriate when you need information from others to solve a problem. The problem can't be easily defined. Team members buy into the decision is important. You have enough time available to manage a group decision. Whereas, an autocratic style is most appropriate when you have greater expertise on the subject than others. You are confident about acting alone. The team will accept your decision. There is little time available. 9.3.3 Transactional theory of leadership. Max Weber in 1947 discovered transactional theory initially and later was developed by Bernard M. Bass in 1981. There were various assumptions made by the theorist, which are as follows. 1. People who are clear about their goals perform better when given clear command by the leader. 2. Rewards and punishment motivate workers to work more efficiently. 3. Workers consider their primary goal to follow the commands of their leader. 4. Leader has to monitor the subordinate while they are doing their assigned work. Some of the characteristics of a transactional leader are: 1. Contingent reward. The leader focuses on organizational goals and sets smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals for the subordinates. 2. Management by exception. Active. The leader focuses on monitoring performance, take corrective actions to prevent mistakes. 3. Management by exception. Passive. The practicing passive management style of leadership intervenes only if standards are not met and even use punishments for poor performances. And 4. Laissez-faire. Sometimes leaders give freedom to the subordinates to take decisions and from responsibilities and avoid making decisions, due to which the followers lack direction. This kind of leadership is not applicable and feasible in various situations because gender plays a very important role in determining the outcome of such leadership behaviors. 9.3.4 Transformational theory of leadership. Transformational leadership is also called a charismatic leadership style where the leader inspires her/his followers to transcend their own self-interests for the betterment of the organization. The leader tries to motivate the subordinate or follower to view the existing problem from different viewpoints and encourage them to be creative to come up with new ideas and thoughts for the development of organization and self. There are 4 dimensions of transformational theory of leadership given by Bass and Ruggio, viz. Idealized influence, 2. Inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration, IC, which are as follows. 1. Idealized influence. ID leader acts as a role model by exhibiting high morals and ethical standards. They help followers to have a clear mission and future vision about the organization's progress. 2. Inspirational motivation. Leaders show and give high enthusiasm to deal with different types of challenges to their subordinates/followers. 3. Intellectual stimulation. Leader tries to enhance creativity of the subordinates and encourage them to develop new ideas, thoughts, problem-solving skills, etc. 4. Individualized consideration. IC leaders try to understand and fulfill subordinates' needs to achieve success. Apart from above-mentioned theories, there are many new concepts evolving in the field of leadership. The organizational structures characterized by more fluid, temporal arrangements, rapidly changing technologies, increased globalization and changing workplace demography can affect the staples of leadership. Thus, it is important to incorporate these ideas to make a solid base for leadership construct for its better understanding. 9.4 Challenges to leadership. Due to changing nature of workforce and organizations in today's scenario, leaders around the world are facing many issues and challenges. Some of these are mentioned below. 1. To build trust with the subordinates/followers. Development of trust is a very slow process but is necessary while working with a person or a team. Leaders have to create secure environment for their followers so that they feel comfortable sharing their viewpoint with the team. If the trust is not developed with the followers/subordinates, then it would become very difficult to get work done from them as they might feel demotivated or disinterested. 2. Conflicts among team members. People working in teams generally go through many conflicting situations before accomplishing their final goal. A successful leader should try to avoid personal bias at the time of conflicting situations so that equality is maintained among all the team members. Leader should try to focus on possible solutions to resolve the conflict and maintain healthy discussions among the team members. 3. Lack of cohesiveness. Sometimes when a team is formed newly, different factors affect its cohesiveness. Leaders have to deal with different ideas, viewpoints, thoughts about different issues. Such disparity can lead to lack of cohesiveness among the team members and can act as a barrier in achieving a goal. 4. Lack of common goal. While achieving a common goal, it is important for a leader to take his/her followers/subordinates along with them in the same direction. Every individual can have different perspective about a goal and may work accordingly, but the leader has to take them along by giving them clarification and appropriate guidance at every step. 5. Lack of transparency and respect. Rapport between the team members and leader plays an important role in developing transparency and respect for each other. A leader should always be transparent about rewards so that it creates trust among the team members. Every stage of goal attainment involves such problems which need to be handled sensitively. 9.55 Indian perspective on leadership. Ancient history stands as testimony that successful leaders not only lead an organization but also inspire their subordinates /followers by providing a path to achieve the larger goals. Hence, we can say that leadership is a continuous journey of both self and organizational growth. The successful journey involves an individual's constant emotional stability, humility to work on self-development leading to personal growth, and robustness to use appropriate leadership style according to the situation. Leadership skills are impacted by the culture where it is being practiced. In the Indian context, organizations prefer authoritative leaders rather than authoritarian. The leader is considered to be strict in getting the task accomplished by giving suitable guidance to the subordinates, but at the same time focus on the well-being of their subordinates, which enhance their interpersonal relations. According to Sinha, such leaders are called nurturant task leaders as they value both organization progress and interpersonal relationships. Therefore, human relations are always valued in India in every organization by leaders, wherein a leader is said to have charismatic qualities when they boost the morale of team members, take personal interest in their well-being, show empathy and understanding, inspire and excite to do their best work, and respect and invite their opinions. When we talk about styles of leadership, Sinha identified 3 characteristics of NT leadership which are mentioned below, depending too much on the leader even when guidance or support is not required. Following hierarchical stratified system in the organization in which the hierarchy demonstrates a visible status consciousness where respect for, and obedience of elders and superiors is insurmountable. Preference for good interpersonal relationships, which includes favoritism and nepotism. Power plays a very important role in Indian organization, and leaders have the tendency to centralize power and obtain high status in the organization. Subordinates, on the other hand, idolize their leader by valuing and respecting them, and they work according to the guidance given by their leader. This relationship of a leader and a follower is termed as Guru Shishya in ancient history, as Shishya would follow in his /her guru's footsteps happily because they are mindful of the following needs / aspects of their team members. 9.6 Let us sum up. The present unit discussed about the concept of leader and leadership skills in context of organizational environment. The unit also discussed about the relevance of different leadership styles on the basis of leadership theories. With the help of this unit, you came to know about the various challenges that are faced by the leaders of the organization. At the end, the Indian perspective on leadership was explained.